Welcome to the G5 Huddle, and the College Huddle is the largest fan-led college sports podcast community on the internet. The College Huddle offers its members a network of other podcasts and content creators to work with, giving our audiences more in-depth content. If you're interested in more college football coverage, then I highly recommend that you go follow the College Huddle on X at College Huddle, our YouTube channel at the College Huddle Podcast, and visit the website, thecollegehuddle.com, where you will find articles and information from our 70-plus college athletic focused podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're watching us live on X, please like, retweet, and finally, if you're listening to us in podcast form, please rate and review. I am Luke, and I am joined by my co-host, Justice, and we are excited to be back, bringing you the G5 college football content you love each and every week. Welcome, Justice.
What's going on, man? Not too much longer. We'll have college football, right? I guess another, I don't know, month and a half, or maybe a month, and they'll start being fall camps, and we're, I guess, I don't know, 60 some days away, maybe
From the
70
camps
days away.
themselves.
From the first games, maybe.
Yeah, I think
Probably
we're
closer
like
to 70.
I think we're like maybe 83 or so. It's right around there. I always watch Georgia State always has like something that pops up on my feed with a jersey number. I feel like they were around 83 today. So, and I never know if that's week 0, if that's week 1. I don't really care. Just bring it here. I want it. Give me all of the college football that we can. I mean, I had a riveting start to my weekend. I went and saw Garfield. I won't talk about too much. I don't want to ruin it for you in case you go see it, and all the people that are watching and listening at home, wherever they are. I don't want to ruin Garfield for you. So I went there with my 6 and 3-year-old, and 6-year-old did great. 3-year-old, it was about 20 minutes too long. So,
Well, and we're about to just lose football in general, because I think tonight, matter of fact, starting right now is the championship of the UFL, and so after that, like, we won't really have anything until NFL and college football camps start off.
have you watched any of the UFL?
I have. I've watched some of the games.
I haven't.
I
I have not
haven't
watched
watched
any
it.
of it.
I haven't watched it super religiously, but I have watched some of it. I find it entertaining. For me, like, if I was to join like a fantasy league, maybe that had UFL, I'd probably be way more invested in watching it way more religiously. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it when I have watched it.
I've just watched. I guess I have watched it, but it's been at a restaurant. It's on at a bar. It's on. I just haven't gone out of my way to watch it. Billy Tuesday, he's showing up in the chat. He's here about every week. Thanks, Billy. How are you doing? Yeah, let's get into some news and notes. Justice, do you have any recent portal news from the G5?
Yeah, so it's really slowed down here the last few weeks, and expected to kind of be that way, and for the next few weeks. But we do have some new commitments, and I think you'll start hearing more and more about commitments and official commitments now, because once they enroll, they can be a quote official. They're officially with the school, and so a lot of these guys that maybe have made commitments, they can enroll in summer school, et cetera. They can start getting on campus here in the summer. And so you might hear some more quote, "Hey, it's official. So-and-so is here now." But yeah, we have cornerback Raekwon Adams going from Cincinnati to JMU. JMU recently lost D'Angelo Pons, I believe, to I think it was Indiana. So they needed some more depth there in the cornerback room. Speaking of cornerbacks, Malcolm Jones, Michigan State, is off to Jacksonville State, and cornerback Christian Conyer going from Tennessee to Coastal Carolina. Both of those schools we recently spoke with. I guess was it last week on our other podcast, the G5 Hive, and so they both. I'm trying to recall from that conversation, but I felt like they both felt like maybe they could use some help there in the defensive backfield.
Yep.
Wide receiver Peanut Houston is moving from Missouri to Old Dominion. This one, I don't know. It feels like a go big or go home kind of move, so to speak. It feels like he's going to be all or bust. He he was a pretty high level recruit. I believe he was recruited by Texas and Tennessee and Alabama. He initially committed to Nebraska. He left Nebraska, went to Missouri, and he's had some injuries, hasn't played a whole lot, and now he's off to Old Dominion for his final year of college. And I don't know. This seems like an ultimate boom or bust edition, right? Definitely, I think someone like a G5. It's good to see him take an opportunity to take these kind of shots, and maybe it'll work out for his final season. He's pretty fast, got a lot of speed, and so that's something I think the Old Dominion offense could use. So I'm very intrigued by that addition and interested to see how it will play out come the fall.
I mean, I don't know a lot about Peanut, but it sounds like a fast name. Like if it was like Cashew or something, I think like maybe a linebacker, bigger guy. But yeah, Peanut, I don't know, just kind of sounds like a fast dude.
Well, and here's the other thing, like, Southampton County, right near Old Dominion, is like the peanut capital of the world. It sounds like a NIL match made in heaven with his name and proximity to the peanut capital of the world.
I didn't know that. Now I know.
Running back Iverson Celestine going from Tulane to South Alabama. South Alabama, we talked to them earlier, I don't know, probably about a month ago at this point. They got Braylon McReynolds, Kentrell Bullock there. So this kind of feels like a depth move. Celestine's been in college. I got to imagine this is his last year of eligibility. It seems like he's been in college for a while, but definitely I think a solid addition to that South Alabama running back room.
Yeah, I mean, South Alabama feels pretty good. 2 deep, I think. Maybe it was 3 deep. Maybe it was quite a bit. So, yeah, it is interesting, but running back's one of those positions that always gets hurt, and it's nice to have a guy there. And, he's got some experience. Not a lot, but some.
I don't know if you saw this comment, Luke. Clint wants to see you post a top 10 fastest nuts list on X later.
I don't even know if I would know any other, like walnuts are like real slow.
Macadamia. What do you think about macadamia? That seems like a kind of a bigger offensive lineman or defensive lineman. How about a pecan, right? Pecan.
Now we're off the rails. Clint, we're off the rails.
Sunflower seed. A sunflower seed, man. That sounds fast to me. But really small. Small and fast.
I mean, sunflower reminds me of Sunshine from was it Remember the Titans?
Yeah, the quarterback.
That's what that kind of reminds me of. Yeah, it's definitely a quarterback position for sure. Okay.
All right. Getting back to some portal commitments, linebacker Shane Witter going from Oklahoma to North Texas. I think it's a great move for North Texas. When we spoke to Brett Vito, I felt like at least their top 2 or 3 linebackers were pretty set. And so Shane definitely feels like someone that can at least add depth to that room and maybe help them out if they have any kind of injuries. And then the final piece of player news we have is it's finally official. Quarterback Chandler Morris is at North Texas. There was a lot of concern and rumblings that maybe he wouldn't actually show up. His dad, I think, is now the wide receivers coach down at Texas State. So maybe they thought he would go there. But, I think I felt like once they brought in Jordan McLeod, that probably would have squashed that. But nonetheless, it's finally official. He is now at North Texas. The folks, the fans of the Mean Green can breathe a little bit of sigh of relief to know he's there. And I think provided he can stay healthy, which has been a challenge for him the last 2 seasons, he is gonna do some great things there at North Texas. I mean, the last 2 years he was the starter going into week 1 for TCU. He got injured 2 years ago. Max Duggan took over, and the rest is history. They end up in the college football championship game. And then last year, plays a couple games, gets hurt again. Josh Hoover kind of takes over, looks outstanding, and Morris 2 years in a row has kind of got Wally Pipp due to injury. So, wish the best for him, and hopefully he can stay healthy there for the North Texas Mean Green.
All right. In general news, I just kind of wanted to bring this up. It's kind of a Boise takeover here, but Boise State was just been on a heater lately with future years scheduled. They do a home and home with App State. That'll be September 27th in 2025 at Boise State, and then September 4th, 2027, it'll be in Boone. Just inject this straight into my veins. I mean, what we were talking about great places to have a bowl game, and I brought up Boone because of of maybe how that atmosphere is. You said it wasn't a great place to actually get there, but then we both brought up Boise State being a great place for a bowl game. So, I mean, it's almost like they were listening. It's almost as if college football is listening. Maybe Boise State was listening to us, and that's what happened. Then they go and they announce adding Notre Dame October 4th in 2025. So that is quite the heater that they have been on. With Boise State versus App State series match coming up with two of the best programs in the group of five, what other non-conference group of five matchups would you like to see? I want to hear that in the chat from you guys. We'll put them out and talk about them here a little bit later. Put who you want to see and why. Justice, who do you got?
Well, like you said, that's a great matchup. The Boise State versus App State. That's two of the top G5 programs, right? Just if you're from a historical perspective, year in and year out, they're always really great teams, really competitive teams, and so it's great to kind of see that kind of series develop. So my first choice is a little bit more personal for me as an Old Dominion fan. I'd love to see a series with Old Dominion versus Navy, and the reason being is the world's largest naval base is here in Norfolk, Virginia. It's where Old Dominion is. There's a ton of Navy, just service folks, veterans, etc., in this area. And I just think, it'd just be a great matchup for Old Dominion to secure. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be super tough for anyone to get out of conference series with Navy or Army, especially with them joining, being in the same conference in the American. They still have their Army Navy game, and that game is considered an out of conference game. So it just simply reduces the availability of both Army and Navy from an out of conference game perspective even more. So I'm not hopeful that one would ever happen, but it's definitely one that I think would be great both for Navy, for Old Dominion, and the folks in the area around Norfolk, Virginia.
Would Navy be the home favorite, or I guess away favorites at Old Dominion? Like, would there be more Navy fans at the Old Dominion game?
That's a good
than
question.
Old Dominion fans?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it really boils down to is how many Old Dominion season ticket holders are also, potentially Navy veterans, right?
Yeah.
Or Navy service members. So it's certainly possible. But I mean that would be that would undoubtedly be a hot ticket in the area. Virginia Tech comes to town and it's a hot ticket. East Carolina, etc. I think Old Dominion versus Navy would be an even hotter ticket than Virginia Tech or Old Dominion or East Carolina. My next matchup is playing into coaches here. So Blake Anderson left Arkansas State at Utah State. So, Utah State versus Arkansas State. Old coach gets to face his former team. Two programs. Utah State's always got an exciting offense. Arkansas State's got Jalen Rayner, who's a great upcoming player. So I don't know. I just felt like a matchup of two, pretty good offenses. Something I'd always like to see. And I think fans like to see a lot of scoring.
I'm gonna I know you got more. I want to get into the
Sure.
action here. I want to see Memphis versus App State. Um, and I just think those are two programs that have been, up at the top. Memphis, I don't know. I want to know if I'd say they've been up at the top for a long time, but they've had their moments and they're really good right now. And App State's, pretty good. So I'd like to see that game, especially if I had to pick a venue. I'd really want to see it at App State. I just going to Boone, I think might just end up being on one of my bucket lists. Like that's maybe something I need to do.
No, that's another
Um,
good one because that's a matchup of again two top G5 programs.
and then, like you said, playing into the coaching thing, I want to see Coastal Carolina and Liberty. Liberty's coach, or I guess Coastal Carolina's coach leaves to go to Liberty, and then takes some players and still taking a couple players here and there. I'm trying to remember who they took this last year, wide receiver wise, that came over from Coastal Carolina
Oh,
to
was it
Liberty.
Mobley? Tyson Mobley?
Mobley, yeah, Mobley. So there's still some lingering things there. So I think that would be a interesting kind of rivalry game, maybe for maybe more so Coastal Carolina than Liberty. So play that one at Coastal.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, that's another great one with the coaching history there.
All right, I'll give it. I'll send it back over to you for a couple.
So this next one is more, or I guess probably my next three are really more kind of regional things. Tulane versus Troy. That's both I think a great regional game, as well as I know another matchup of two traditionally, recently, pretty strong programs. And so, love to see that matchup. And then I have UAB versus Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State just kind of just moved up to the FBS this past season. UAB is I think an up and coming program there under Trent Dilfer. Love to see those that kind of regional matchup there with those two teams. What else you got, Luke?
I want to see Wyoming and Northern Illinois. Wyoming, and I want to see it in Laramie. Um, you know, Northern Illinois can really run the ball. They've got especially this year, a good offensive line coming back, a solid team going up there and playing in Wyoming, running the ball. Just a big rock fight, I think there.
That's strength
We're
on
gonna,
strength, man.
yeah, I think that. So I think
Both
that would be a
strong running
really fun.
games,
I think
both
that would be
great
a fun
defenses.
game. I think that would be a fun game to watch. And then James Madison versus Boise State at James Madison. I want to see some streamers flying. Maybe not. I mean, we'll see about this year how James Madison does. I in general feel pretty confident based on that coaching staff cutting their teeth in the D3, D2 level. They don't always get to pick what recruits that they get. So they're not, like a lot of these other coaches where they're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole type thing. I would like to see those two teams meet historically, maybe over 10 years type thing.
All right. The last one I had was Texas State versus Sam Houston State. Again, regional type game. Texas State, exciting offense there with GJ Kinney. Sam Houston State, recent move up to the FBS. I think Coach Keeler will get get the Bearcats where he needs them to be. I think they'll be improved this year. Last year their record wasn't great, but I feel like they were just one of the unluckiest teams in all of FBS. So yeah, I like to see those regional matchups, teams out of conference playing against each other.
And then I have San Jose State versus Navy. For I'm gonna butcher the name. So Justice, give me the name of
Oh my
the head
gosh,
coach.
man, Naila
Ken.
Tolololo.
Yeah, give me that. Granted, we're San Jose State's not gonna have the triple option, but he seems to be very well respected in both areas. I think that would be a really fun game. Play it probably at Navy. I think would be a good game. And then Middle Tennessee State versus Marshall. Like Middle Tennessee State, and this is just like trying to figure out the newness of the teams. Like I would like to see it right away this year. You got Middle Tennessee State goes from this like air raid type system to be a little bit more under center. And then Marshall, the rumors are that we're going to see a air raid type system. So it's kind of like both teams that have switched kind of what they're doing, and I wouldn't mind seeing Marshall versus Middle Tennessee State at Marshall. So we asked you guys what you guys have. I haven't seen anything in the chat. I know we've got a lot of people watching. Go out there, put something in the chat, what you want to see, any games that you would like to see here in the G5. Before we get to our main topic, I have looked at the type of nuts that there are because I'm not really familiar with that. So with all of them, so Billy Tuesday said cashew is not technically a nut. It does not. It says cashew nuts is a type of nut. So Billy Tuesday, I'm going to send you to betterhealth.vic.gov. That's where I'm getting this stuff from. So we've got almonds, Brazil nuts, cashew nuts, hazelnuts, macadamia nuts, pecans, pine nuts, never heard of them, pistachios, walnuts, and peanuts. Peanuts still the fastest. Next fastest would probably be Brazilian nuts. Brazilian might be my fastest nut. So there you go. Clint Carlson, you were asking for it. I can't give you maybe a top 10, but Brazilian nuts definitely number one in the top spot there for fastest nuts. All right, main topic.
I had before we get to the main topic, I had one more matchup that when you said San Jose State versus Navy sparked an idea. Going back to my thought about the reason why bringing Navy to Old Dominion is because the world's largest Navy base in Norfolk. But where is the world's largest Navy base on the West Coast? To my knowledge, San Diego. So San Diego State versus Navy, kind of that same reasoning. That would be another, I think, great matchup for the G5 teams.
All right. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about an interesting tidbit from a recent lawsuit settlement that athletes. Oh, sorry. Rewind. So this main topic is going to be about our NCAA is going to allow schools to put sponsorship logos and sponsors on the field. You could put sponsorship things in the stadium if the stadium was. You hear the dogs going crazy?
No, I was reading Clint's comments. Sorry.
Okay. But you could put like if the stadium was named after something, you could put those sponsorships around the stadium. But now you can kind of do whatever. So what I want to kind of ask, or what did you think about the article first? And then if viewers saw this article or sparked something, put it in the chat.
I mean, for me, I think it's good. It goes all the way down to Division III. So Division I, Division II, Division III, they can put logos on the field. They can only put those logos in 3 locations. And I think it's like the 50-yard line, and then there's 2 like ancillary locations. Typically, like in bowl games and stuff, you see those around the 20-yard line or so. So those are kind of the rule, and it has to be approved on a game-by-game basis. I think it's good. It's another revenue stream. Of course, it's going to play out that the Power 4 schools are going to get more money to be able to do that. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be disproportionate. Sure, I don't have any doubt about that. But it's just a revenue stream in general for all the colleges. Like I said, Division I, Division II, Division III. I think it's a good thing. That's all that's approved right now. One thing that I think the next step is, again, something we see in professional sports and we see in bowl games is a uniform patch. Bowl games, they wear the well, the famous Idaho potatoes bowl patch on the uniform. You see it like in the NBA, soccer, etc. You see, corporate sponsorship patches or logos, if you will, on those uniforms. I feel like that's kind of the next progression of this, um, you know, sponsorship thing.
What's funny about this whole thing is, I don't know, 5 years ago, 8 years ago, whatever it was, WNBA, hard time getting money into the WNBA. We're going to do sponsorships. We're going to have patches on our, we're going to have companies kind of own those jerseys type thing. They, like, from what I remember, really got laughed at a whole bunch. Here we are, NBA with stuff on their jerseys. NCAA is like, hey, we need to figure out something. Women's basketball, the forefront of sports in revenue.
I feel like soccer did it first, though.
Okay,
could be wrong, but I do feel like soccer did it first.
I don't pay attention to any soccer, so maybe. But yeah, maybe NASCAR did it first. Who really?
Well,
knows?
yeah, I mean NASCAR is a walking billboard, buddy, and it's been that way for years.
But I'm just saying, like, women's basketball, they bring them to the forefront. With all the Caitlin Clark stuff and all the people watching women's basketball now. Yeah, it's kind of funny that now the NCAA is here at this point. That kind of seems like the logical step because that's what everybody else has done, and it seems like it's working. Otherwise, I don't know why other people would be doing it. I don't know the financials, behind it. But this is a prime opportunity for U.S. Postal Service or the UPS to go into Memphis and to logo a lot of stuff in there. Just the grounds owned by FedEx. There's FedEx everywhere there in Memphis. You infiltrate Memphis Stadium with billboards and stuff on the field of UPS. How about that?
Yeah, that'd be definitely would be interesting. One thing I'm interested to kind of see, and I've noticed it more in hockey, but if you've watched hockey lately, have you noticed like on the boards, like the advertisement on the boards aren't really the advertisements on the boards? Like it's a computer generated image for the TV only. So I'm wondering, like, if at some point, like, I don't know, I don't know how that would work, but can the network put their own sponsors on your field, even though they're not really on the field? It's going to show to the user that they're on the field.
I mean, it's just the same like the baseball behind the backstop. They've got that little green rectangle there behind the catcher, and they do the same thing. Yeah. So that definitely seems to be something that is going to happen. But we just talked about this. Was it last week, 2 weeks ago, where we talked about the House versus NCAA settlement about like, here's how much money these schools are going to have to, I can't remember what it was, 2.1 billion or whatever it was, and then
2.7 billion, I believe.
And then the next week or 2 weeks later, they're like, all right, we're up to putting logos on fields and jerseys and all that. But like you said, it's nothing different than like the NFL, like you said, and NCAA when they have the bowls and the Super Bowl patches and all this stuff. So it makes sense as that's the logical next step. See how it goes, and if you need to do more, do more.
One thing I remember, this harkens back to when Old Dominion was in the FCS. So the NCAA, and maybe they have changed, but I used to think they didn't allow, at least I was told, and this is 10 years or more ago, you weren't allowed to have beer or alcohol sponsorships be shown during NCAA championship events. So like the FCS playoffs or a basketball NCAA basketball tournament, etc. But I was watching a I don't know, it was a regional or super regional baseball game, and I want to say it was East Carolina, and in left field there was a big old Miller Lite advertisement, and you certainly didn't see it whole game long, but you saw it, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. So maybe, I don't know if the NCAA has lightened up on that kind of sponsorship. I mean, I can certainly see why it would be a rule, right? I mean, college drinking on college campuses is a problem enough. You don't need to go around advertising it in college sports. But
Well, they allow
maybe that's
drinking in
something.
stadiums. Maybe not all the stadiums, but
Not all
I
stadiums,
know.
yeah.
Okay, like uh, at the University of Iowa, you can buy buy beer and have that at the stadium. So
Yeah, Old Dominion's just started allowing that in the general stadium maybe like 2 years ago. Before that, you had to, be in the VIP area or something like that. So
gotcha.
it wasn't for the general public. But what are some sponsors you'd like to see? Like the first one that came to mind when I read these articles was EA Sports, right? Like if EA Sports is not on somebody's field, just to fricking push the NCAA 25 football game, like they have missed a huge opportunity, right?
I almost feel like they should be on every field.
Now, I
Like
don't I
I
don't
don't.
disagree, but they got to be on somebody's.
Yep. I initially when you asked me the question, I was like the G55. I mean, why not us sponsor
Yeah.
a team? I mean,
I mean,
makes
if someone
sense.
says, yeah, if someone wants to like do it for free, we don't have any money to pay you. We'll gladly do some interviews for you. Whatever we can for your school. But yeah, if you want to put the G5 Hive logo on your field, and have us do some pro bono work as far as interviews and media relations type stuff, let us know. We definitely would be down for that.
In the chat, let us know what sponsorships you might like to see there on some fields or jerseys, and then I'm thinking not G5 related, just in general. I talk about UPS going into Memphis and taking over the FedEx grounds. You've got Adidas or Reebok going up to Oregon and putting stuff in there. Like I'm like, there's no way Oregon would allow it. Like they're like, they got Nike money, but like how you kind of
How
use
funny would
this
that be?
as competitors in the market. That's how I would be using it. If there's an area that my ROI is not great or I need to turn around something, that's where I'm kind of looking to put my brand. And then if there's a competitor, like if there's a big competitor of this, I want to try to, you know, go into their home field and take their recruits, pretty much.
Is it Missouri that has the Walmart money?
I don't think so. Broncos have Walmart money.
I was just thinking if there's a college that gets a lot of money from Walmart, maybe Target would
Oh,
go and sponsor the field.
because so Target's based out of Minneapolis, so you'd assume the Gophers would have something there. You got Minnesota Twins with the Target field, but yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some businesses to really get cutthroat and go in there and take some stuff. That's what I'm ultimately ending up seeing. I'm trying to think of any businesses that would be big. Like I could see so like at Auburn, I know that this isn't G5 talk, but I think Auburn has equipment there. Uh is it Randall equipment? I think is at Auburn. So you have whatever other fanatics or whatever go and take in Auburn stuff. I could see that. Do you know any
I mean, FedEx is like the biggest G5 one. I
yeah.
mean, I think like the other tie-ins just be cool, like with mascots, right? Like, East Carolina Pirates, Arkansas State Red Wolves. Something where you can kind of tie in with the mascot. What about
Yeah.
here's one, Western Kentucky? They got Big Red, right? That's their
Yep.
mascot. Wendy's, right? Wendy's, redhead. Like I don't
Yeah.
know. That seems like a good one, right?
So somebody put in here bold prediction.
If the
John,
Smurfs still existed, the Smurfs would be a perfect one for Boise State.
yep. Jonathan in the chat, he posted a bold prediction for ECU. So how about Jonathan? What are your thoughts of Captain Crunch being a sponsor there for ECU and the Pirates?
That's a good one.
I don't know. So if you guys got any ideas, throw them in the chat. Thoughts on anything else, Justice?
Oh, there you
I
go,
think.
John. There you go. Jonathan gives you one. ECU Pirates and Captain Morgan. Again, that's a great one. I just don't. I think. I remember, like I said, 10 plus years ago, there was a rule about alcohol advertisement and college at college events. Now, it was only specifically for NCAA sponsored, like championship events. So maybe it doesn't apply to like a normal playoff game. I don't know, but that's definitely a great that'd be a great one. Captain Morgan and the ECU Pirates.
And maybe I'm just now I'm just showing my age with kids. Like Pirates and Captain Crunch are the first thing I think of, not Captain Morgan. But
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, another a local. If you're stay on the alcohol theme, a local one for ECU be Kill Devil Brewing Company. They make a couple rums. So that's a North Carolina based company. Stays with the pirate theme and alcohol as well. So that'd be a good one, from a local perspective.
Clint says BYU and Budweiser. Oh shoot!
Oh yeah, that'd be an ironic one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to get really crazy, like Troy and Trojan, right? I mean,
Yeah. Yep. Troy and Trojans. Yeah. There's a lot of opportunities, but we're off the rails. We're off the rails. If you got anything, put it in the chat. But I think that's all we got for tonight, right, Justice?
yeah. That's it for this week. It's news is kind of slow, but we're digging each and every week to try to bring you the news and what's going around the G5 and and how these global things, these NCAA things affect the G5.
All right. Well, if you're looking for more G5 college content, please check out that lineup of teams over there at the College Huddle. They have articles, podcasts, YouTube shows, etc. Plenty of content for the G5 college football fans.
And if after that you still want more G5 college football content, we encourage you to check out our other G5 college football show, the G5 Hive, at G5 Hive on X and YouTube. We are currently producing our Worker Bee series, where we deep dive into the landscape of G5 college football teams with the folks that know the teams the best. We interview beat reporters, super fans, school podcasts, and even student reporters to get all the skinny on the G5 teams they cover. Several episodes are now available on the G5 Hive YouTube channel and in podcast form on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. This past week, we released episodes covering the Arkansas State Red Wolves, the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes, and the JMU Dukes. Coming up this week, we have the UTSA Roadrunners, the Troy Trojans, and the Ball State Cardinals.
If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you are listening to us in podcast form, please rate and review. With that, we wish you all your field goals be right down the middle and that your favorite team always gets the W. Until the next time, we are the G5 Huddle, and thank you for your support.